Welcome, everyone, to Hanging Out with Howie. Tonight's topic is going to be goodbye to 2021 and looking ahead to 2022. And as always, my favorite wingman, Brian S. Red, is with me. Thank you, Brian.
Well, when he can be
And
here, he's here. I'm here. So
yeah, and one of my very, very good friends and partners in crime, Jay Brandon, is here.
Whoa, I'm here.
And
Thank
Bill
you.
Marsh, the soothsayer of all things legal music and so forth like that, from Carlisle Entertainment, is in the crowd. And one of the best traveling buddies you could ever have, John C. from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And all the way from Cyprus. Top of the morning to you, Alex.
Morning, guys.
Thank you guys for being
Hey,
here.
Alex.
So,
What's it, Friday there?
yeah, right.
Happy New Year.
It's Friday 2022. You know, New Year's Eve for me was so last week. You know.
So
Yeah,
last week.
2023 here in Cyprus.
All right, guys. Hey, goodbye to 2021. Like, I don't know though. I had a pretty good year. I know some people didn't. Any thoughts on goodbye to 2021?
it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was
It was a
Surprisingly.
very strange year.
I did a
It was
video
a- it
too
was
where I
great
was
and bad.
talking about a headline that I saw. It's actually from USA Today. The headline was 2021 sucked. It literally said that for like a USA Today headline. And I thought, wow, wasn't that
Wow.
bad?
Wow.
Wow.
I had to click on it
Yeah.
because I had to see kind of what they were, basing that off of. And they were talking about events that happened that sucked. And I, agree. Yeah, a lot of those things sucked. But all in all, for us as business owners, it's a lot better than last year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I felt. I remember, saying, wow, another cancellation because Jersey was so strict with the things. And you said, don't worry about it, Howie. Things are going to pick up. And man, you were right again. I have not been so busy. I've been traveling all over and I can't, I don't know. I'm happy. So that's the main thing for me.
It was kind of the year of unique opportunities for a lot of us,
Yes.
where things popped up that were a little out of the norm, but were cool. That
Yeah.
happened to me this year, and I was happy to have those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, it wasn't a bad year.
No,
It-
it wasn't.
for me, it was doing that balloon festival in August that pretty much made the rest of my year because
That was
everything.
nice.
Yeah, everything after that was kind of coasting downhill. So
Yeah,
to
but you
speak.
had quite a few events late, like in
Yeah.
the holiday season, which I was really happy about to see.
Yeah,
for
see,
you.
well, and
Yeah.
I still, fingers crossed, have a New Year's Eve party at that same retirement community.
Wow,
Um, but that could be jeopardized by the evil Omicron.
good. How about you, John?
A few less gigs than normal because I'm normally the club and bar guy. I did have,
Mhm.
I think, 4 weddings, a couple of privates. It was slower than typical because we really didn't get the full release of the bars for like maybe a couple of months, August, September, and then it started going the other way again. Then it's all right, smaller
Mhm.
groups and masks, and then all the entertainment went away. A lot of the karaoke guys and trivia nights and stuff like that. They kind of once a month instead of 3 times a weekend. It's there, but it's not really up to full swing yet. But I
Yeah.
hope it's coming back. 2022 looks like turning the corner for real this time. I know we said it
Well-
12 months ago, but maybe this
Yeah.
time it will be.
Yeah, as Brian said, there's opportunity now out there, and in Boston, you were a great wingman to have, for that broadcast. That was
Thank
was just so much fun. That was
Happy to
so
help you.
much fun because, well, truthfully, I mean, nobody really had anything good to say, and we were on the fly, like, we got to pull some gags off here and make a happy show out of this thing. And Jay, you were good with it, with the coming in with the pizza. And it was fun. I mean, I had a good time. I had a good time.
You're on the world tour this year, Howie. You've been everywhere, man. Like Johnny Cash.
I just got back from Lake Placid, and that was Eric got that last minute. They were like, what the gist of it was kind of like the golden ticket on one of those, Who's Got Talent shows. They had all these athletes that were going to, in different disciplines, from cross country skiing and jumping off of that, and it was a brand new facility. And there was no gold, silver, and bronze. It was winner take all. If you win, you go to the Olympics, that type of thing. And they hit him up last minute, and he was scrambling. He had let his regular crew go on their vacations, family time and whatnot. So he called in friends. And so there was 4 of us, the key guys that took care of it. And everybody had a lane. I did lights. There was somebody else doing the switching for the camera. They had a camera operator for the big Jumbotron thing. And Eric was doing sound and firing off the sparklers that didn't do well in the cold. Those things are not made for temperatures 0 degrees. You didn't know when he fired them, and then they wouldn't fire. Then maybe only one would fire. And then they finally gave up the ghost and said, we're not doing nothing no more. It was that cold up there. It was amazing. So, but I'm going back in February, and we've come up with a solution for that. We're going to make a heat blankets to go around these things. And hopefully that'll work. But we'll try it out ahead of time. But yeah,
how you learn.
it was difficult. So did anybody do any outdoor events where they had troubles?
No troubles.
Well, I had trouble, but luckily, me, backup. They gave me a 3-foot piece of trussing to work off of, because all I use is the iPad and the bridge. And I set my iPad on the aluminum base plate that was the top. And I should have known better, because the Apple products and even Android, they're only good between, they recommend between 32 degrees and 80 degrees. Well, it was 0 out. So the battery, within 1 hour, the battery went from 100% down to 50%. And I was like, uh-oh, I got 4 hours to go. I'm in trouble. Quick changed over. I took my spare jacket. I put that down so I wouldn't be transferring the cold from the aluminum. And I put my iPad on top of that. And then I plugged it into the charger. And I actually had the charger in my top pocket inside, and out. I come out with the cord for charging the iPad through one of the buttons on my Carhartt and plug that in. And at the end of the event, I still had 97% on the iPad. So I was like, whew.
It's all trial and error. I mean, all this stuff is always trial and error, especially when you're doing things that are out of your wheelhouse. Well, not that you can't do them, but those unknowns pop up, or those things that you don't know they're going to be a problem become a problem. You work around them, and in the next time around, you know what to do and what not to do. It's all experience.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's why I want to share it with everybody. Look, if we're going to do a show on that, but it'll be like, look, if you have an outdoor event, and that happened to Eric when he was doing that downtown stroll on Christmas Day. He was playing off of the iPad Christmas music on shuffle, and the music went off, and he went over, and his battery was dead.
Yeah.
He quick went to a backup, and then he ran to a local store and bought a charger for it that would, overcharge. It was like one of those like 2 amp chargers or something. And luckily he was able to get through. But that's how the temperature will affect any device. It could be a laptop. Anything electronic is not going to do anything with a battery. It's the battery that takes the hit in the cold. So
Does
You
that
know, all
include
too
Teslas?
often. Sorry, Alex. Good.
I was going to say, does that include Tesla cars as well? Don't buy
Yeah.
a Tesla car if you happen to
It
live in,
would.
like,
It
The
would.
show.
Yeah.
It would.
Canada,
Oh yeah.
places like that.
That would be a Brian show because it's about cars.
Oh, shut up.
Well, I was going to say, we always focus those outdoor event type shows on the summer and the
Yeah.
heat. This
Yes.
would be, you're right. This would be a great topic to go the complete opposite on.
Yeah.
And talk about, extreme cold elements and wind and other things besides heat.
Humidity and laptops and all those good
Well,
things.
Yeah.
we did have what was called a production trailer, but it was just his regular trailer that he hauls stuff in. And it actually just became a freezer, really, is what it was. I mean, you could have hung meat in there, and it would be still good for months, It was amazing. I could not wait to get in my truck and turn the heat on.
Oh, you know what you're talking about, and what I think a lot of us are talking about here are just, experiences we had in 2021 and things we learned in
Yeah.
2021. And that's all good stuff. It's all good
It's
stuff.
all it
You
really
found the
is.
workarounds.
I
Personally,
actually
I
it
mean,
gave me the Christmas spirit, really. I mean, it was like because I was able to make the stage, red and
Yeah.
green Christmas colors. And then when they came up and got their bibs, they wanted red, white, and blue, and I gave it to them. And I just it just was a feeling of joy to overcome that problem.
see, there's another guy out there who's going to tell you that it was this terrible gig because his iPad was acting up because it was so cold and nothing went right and it was awful and the year
Yeah.
sucks because of all that stuff.
Right.
I think that you can find negative if you look for it. Even if you don't look for it, there are plenty of social media clicks that will be happy to point you to a negative
Mhm,
thing, and you
mhm.
can think negative. I was thinking about doing a video about being positive about 2021, and I got to thinking that if you're positive in 2021, you probably have Omicron. So that's not good. If you're negative, it's better. So it's just a backwards world we live in right now. I don't know, man.
It's
It's
a
just
bit like,
backwards.
Who do you ask? Do you ask the guy that's behind the stage how things went, or do you ask the person in the audience how the show went? The
Right.
person in the
You know-
audience will say, "Oh, it was amazing. It was great. Oh, when the guy came out on stage, and then this happened and that happened." Then the guy behind, the person working backstage was like, "Oh, this happened, and then this didn't go off, and then we had to run in with this." But it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what happens behind. What matters what happens in front of the stage.
Yeah. It's all
As long as
perception.
everything
Yeah.
in front of the stage goes well, it's a good result.
Excellent.
If it all goes
Excellent
wrong in
point.
front of the stage, it's a bad result. So, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what happens. You got to have that positiveness. It's like, well, we had issues, but we overcome them.
Right.
Yeah.
what
Well,
matters,
Alex,
you
you
got-
make an
you got,
excellent point.
cross
because-
the race line.
Well, we were on the national news on NBC, and they took film clips from the night before and from the day of when they're actually jumping in the daylight and all that. And they chose the moments that were the sparklers actually worked and the lighting was perfect and the video screen was working well. And the whole segment was only 2 minutes. So everything they showed, like you said, as far as the audience was concerned, we did a great job.
Right.
But they didn't know how frantic we were in the production trailer. So that's a really good point. Nobody knows how the sausage is made. They just loved the sausage.
Well, I
And-
know you love sausage.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I
So-
can't wait to get out your way. You're the sausage king of the world out there.
That's right. Yeah. but you like to know how the sausage is made too.
I do though. I do.
So-
I must admit.
You know, you're a dad. I'm a dad. Jay's a dad. John's
Yeah.
a dad. It's almost like being a dad, where it's like Christmas time and it's crazy and you're running around, you're doing all this stuff and you're working hard. You come home with a smile and you put gifts under the tree and everything's fine. The kids don't know what you had to go through to make that happen.
Right. Yes.
It's you do that for your audience.
Look at Jay. $20 is $20, huh, Jay?
$20 is
Is that what you're
$20.
trying to say? I would have done it for free. It was that much fun. I don't know. So looking forward to 2022, I'm like, I'm going to stay the course. I'm going to stay positive and happy. You
There
know,
were good things that happened this year that people aren't.
there
There
was so many good things. You're right.
there was some good music, some really good
Mhm.
music. If you were paying
Mhm.
attention, we talked about this before,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I don't know. I was just thinking today. I almost put it in my video that I did, but I did not. A lot of people don't like the new Matrix movie, right? And they're talking about how, well,
Really?
it's, it's different, it's a little hard to follow, and it made me think a lot. And I'm thinking to myself,
Oh.
I loved it for the very same reasons you hated it.
I was just going to say that. Oh
You
my
know,
God.
it was different.
of
I
my
like
head.
different.
Get out of my head, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I like different. Yeah, it was hard to follow. Yeah, I had to think. I like to think. I like a movie
I
where
like-
not everything has to be a Michael Bay film or Quentin Tarantino movie. I love those movies too, but sometimes, I want something different. And I thought it delivered in that regard.
Yeah.
But some people look at it as a negative. I look at it as a positive. So it's all perception. If you had a rotten year this year, I'm sorry you did, but maybe it's before the year's over. Maybe you should do yourself a favor and really look back and think about what you got out of this year.
Right.
What good happened to you this year?
And what
Instead of
could you
focusing on that
learn?
negative. Why? I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I have seen the different headlines and the clickbait, like, oh, rotten year. And I'm like, for who? Like,
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
it suck to be you? Well, I'm sorry for you, but maybe you're not looking at the opportunities. Like right now, I'm actually going to build a device that will keep computers and iPads at ambient temperature so they'd never fail, even if it's 30 below.
And build yourself a heated snowsuit while you're at it for February.
I wasn't even worried about that. I was fine with the Carhartt and the layering. It was fine, even though we were in a meat locker. But,
I have a battery powered jacket.
I believe that
It's
you
got a
do.
heater in it.
Yeah.
Stevie
Yeah.
bought it for me. It's actually a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It's a Milwaukee tool.
Mm-hmm.
Plug a 12-volt battery into it, or a 12, not a 12-volt, but the whatever it is, a 12-amp battery into it. Put it in a little pocket, and it warms you. It's like an electric blanket.
Yeah, we have guys up here, and they have like an informal motorcycle thing where they do a New Year's Eve run,
Oh yeah.
and they have their jackets are electric, and it plugs into the motorcycle,
Oh,
and
cool.
and the hand grips are heated on their bikes. You can buy them aftermarket, and they're like, it's like, are you crazy? You're going out, and they go, I'm warm.
Right.
Yeah, it's all how you look at it. Like you said, Brian, if you look for the positive, you can overcome these challenges.
The problem is, I mean, in all fairness, there are a lot of people out there who benefit from the negative. I mean, if you think about like the news story I clicked on,
Right.
that was a kind of a negative thing. I had to see it. I clicked on it.
Mm-hmm.
There are YouTubers out there who do things that are kind of negative and they get clicks.
Mm-hmm.
All these media organizations, it's negative, so you watch it. If everything's fine, you wouldn't care, right? So they almost thrive on being negative. They profit from negativity because they get more views and therefore their ad dollars increase. They're what do I want to call it? Their whatever. Their ads are worth more because more people are watching. So they
Valuation.
benefit from it. But we as individuals and as small business owners do not benefit from any of this negative stuff.
No, we try
No.
to filter some of the bad news daily. Don't read everything because
Yeah.
just a couple of just graze. Don't eat the whole thing. Just graze.
Yeah.
It's also the same crap. I'll tune in tomorrow for more news.
Yeah, so some of the stuff that I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, all they're trying to do is trigger people and get them upset, and the more upset they get, the more they watch. But hold on a second, wait a minute. How is this helping anybody except the person who's giving you this information and triggering you? It helps no one. Makes no one's day better.
Right.
Makes no one's quality of life better. Makes it worse. So positive, man. I mean, and I don't mean to sound like, I'm oblivious to all bad things that happen to me, because no, bad things do happen, but geez, the good outweighs the bad. It really does.
Yeah,
In reality,
always.
it does.
Always.
I mean, I think we can take a leaf out of some of our clients' books. For those of us who do weddings, for example, there are plenty of weddings where venues weren't allowed to open, and the brides, the couples didn't say, "Oh, you know what, we're not going to do this." We'll just cancel it, and we'll do it at some point in the future, whenever that'll be. We won't know, But a lot of my bookings, they said, "You know what, we'll just postpone to next year. We'll be positive. We'll postpone to next year." Some weddings went ahead. I'm sure with you guys in the States, they said, "Well, we can't have it at the venue we wanted, so we'll have it at our house, or people's, yards, or if they've got ranches or whatever kind of venue." And they made the best. They said, "Oh, we'll do it ourselves. The venue is not an issue. We can find somewhere else." They were positive, and you rearrange things, and the booking still went ahead. So they were positive. They didn't go, "Oh, we can't have this," or "the ice cream truck isn't turning up," or "the catering can't do it." It's not a problem. They probably rallied round and got another, instead of like the catering company, they got the local restaurant that wasn't necessarily doing outside catering, but they got together and they made the best of what they had. So they went and be positive about it.
That was last year
hopefully,
for a lot
if
of
the 2
us, I
months
think.
that I had for my season is as good as next year, then I'll be happy. Because again, a lot of my clients are postponed till next year. So next year I'm really, really busy with obviously my current bookings as well as the postponements. So I'm very positive for 22.
Wonderful.
My clients are as well. They're like, come on, let's do this. We're everybody's in the right mind now. They know what's happened in 20. They've had a taster. They know what's happened in 21. Right? Okay, you know what? We know what's needed. We know what we have to do to get somewhere. Everybody's more prepared than they were for the last 2 years.
Becoming resilient.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, good word. Yes.
That was a show a few weeks back, the Resilience show.
Yeah,
I-
we did
yeah,
a show on that. Yeah.
I think anybody that's complaining about 2021 being bad that's in business, in small business especially, they're affected by some of the things that were new for 2021. But the people that are kind of crying and moaning just in general, like you're saying, the clickbait and things, I'm like, what, did you sleep through 2020? Because I'm sorry, that is the new bellwether of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I left the house. I didn't have to wear a mask for most of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
I had parties. I got on airplanes a couple times, and it wasn't a thing. I don't know. That was a good year.
Yeah.
But
Relatively speaking, it was a good year.
It
I'm with
was
Alex,
when I got into the production truck, because it was just a small group of us. First thing, it was like, hey, because out of respect, I mean, these guys were running, everybody had a mask, and they were like, hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Who here is triple vaxxed, got the booster, everything? Everybody raised their hand. We go, all right,
We're good.
you mind if we took our mask off then?
Right.
We were cool, and we didn't let anybody in the trailer, and we were very far away from people. These are people from all over the world,
Sure.
and we weren't anywhere near them. They were busy jumping off a stupid hill. I mean,
All the
I didn't
germs
say
are
that.
freezing
I
to
didn't say
death
that
at
out
0.
loud, did I? It's like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we jump off of this mountain? Like, who thinks of that stuff?
Do you know what's
Anyway.
bothering me right now more than anything else, Howie?
What's that?
We're coming up on probably we got about 5 minutes left to your show. We haven't heard hardly anything from Pastor Jay.
I know.
And since we only have 5 minutes left, if we just mute our mics and let him go, I think he can wrap the show for us.
Well, actually, yeah, we have a good 20 minutes left. So
Oh, 20. Okay.
yeah. Jay, yeah, you've been quiet. Have you had a bad 2021?
Yes and no.
Oh,
Yes
come
and no.
on.
So I I actually, when I got in the room, I thought, you know what? This will be the show where I don't speak.
Why?
Well, let me break it down for you.
Oh, here we go.
Here he goes.
January, I was supposed to do NAM and CES, and I
Mhm.
didn't. I did a little bit of NAM thing. And then February, I lost my mom.
Oh,
And then March, my wife got diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then April, my actual business season started up. And I was balancing between I have to go to doctor's appointments every single week, twice a week
Mhm.
sometimes. And by the way, today we went down to San Diego and Michelle had a mammogram and everything is clear, everything is good, nothing
Wow.
found. Yeah, so everything's
Great.
worked out on that end. It has.
Yes.
Yes. Business wise, this was one of the best years I've had in like 8 or 9 years. But in the back of my head, there was always that looming, God, this is not a good year, but I have to make it a good year. Like I have to put on that face. Be like,
Mm.
hey, I'm so excited to be at your wedding. Like on my mom's birthday, I'm like, hey, I did a wedding. I'm like, hey, I'm so happy you're getting married. So it business wise, it was a great year.
Yeah.
Personally, it was a confusing year. Like I said to Michelle today, it went by in like a minute. Like I
Yeah, it
remember
did go
every
quick.
month, every day, every second of this year, and it went by like that. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, I went out to Boston because I had to see my mom's funeral on Zoom in
Mhm.
February. Like
Mhm.
my sister had her phone on Zoom, and there was a priest and my two sisters and my brother-in-law, and that was it. Everyone had a mask, and it was just stupid. There was snow on the ground. I'm like, this is fucking insane. I mean, but that was the
Mhm.
times we lived in then.
Mhm.
COVID almost didn't become an issue this year for me. I wear a mask
Mhm.
when I have to. Excuse me, I'm vaccinated. I got vaccinated the day after Michelle got diagnosed with cancer. I got the second one on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I'll get the booster. You know, it's been a weird year because I think as DJs and business owners, we have to put up a front. We have to be, hey, we're the party. How's it going? Your wedding's going to be amazing. Even if inside you're hurting, even if
Mhm.
inside you're kind of, you know what? I don't believe what I'm telling you, but I have to do it. And
There
it's the
there are
first
some
time.
things that I have to point out to you, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to feel, but
Mhm.
despite everything that happened this year, look where Michelle's at.
No,
You made
absolutely.
it.
No, I have to.
Right.
And I said that, Brian, she got diagnosed in March. We had surgery in April. We had another surgery in May. We had radiation 6 weeks later. So I think
Right.
July through August. Like we're great now. We really are.
Right.
She's healed. Everything is good. We have our 6 month follow up with the surgeon next week. Everything is
Mhm.
good on that end. But
Right.
it's that, that part of us that's a DJ. If you're really a DJ, it's not just about this
Oh,
song goes with this. It's
it's hard,
about
dude.
I need to show up with a big smile on my face and
Right.
be that
Yeah.
motivator and be that
Oh
person
yeah,
that makes the
Yeah.
day better.
dude.
And
It
there are
is
times
hard.
it's very difficult sometimes.
You
It
know, I
really
did
is.
that gig
You
the
know,
day
I
my
have
father died. you know.
Yeah,
I
I was just going to say that same thing. I thought for
I
me
know I did.
personally, I'm not telling anybody to you do you, but when my mom died, I did a wedding and it was
Yeah.
the best thing for me. I took myself out of that grief for the moment. I made someone's day special, and that adrenaline rush you get, after, doing a good event, I held on to that for a bit.
Oh yeah.
And then I did do my grieving period for my mom, but for me personally, that was the best thing to happen, was that after her funeral was to go and do an event. Are you
I
finding
mean,
that helpful or?
well, look at the fine line I walked. I knew I was going to see you guys on Monday 2 weeks ago.
Mhm,
I knew that
mhm,
a week and a half out, but I didn't tell you because as much as I was sad, because my dad's fifth anniversary of passing away was
mhm.
Tuesday. So I saw you
Right,
guys Monday. We hung out, we had a good time. I saw John on Wednesday, but that
right.
Tuesday, that was kind of my day
Mhm.
because, or did I see you Tuesday night, John, or Wednesday night? When did I?
It was Tuesday night because you were
It
flying
was
out
Tuesday night.
Wednesday.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that's right. So that day part was to go to church, was go to the cemetery, it was this and that. I already knew I was going to be there, but I was like, hey, let me get some good out of the grief that I'm going to go through anyway, because that's never
Mhm.
going to change. I don't, you guys can feel the way you
Mhm.
feel. Things are never the same again in my
Oh, no.
world.
Right,
And that's
right.
just the way it is. Like there are reminders. I mean,
Mhm,
Brian's living in a car that his dad had. There are things that I have. There's jewelry, there's moments, there's things in my office. There's a
mhm,
daily constant reminder because I think you you end up understanding how important things are to you. From a business standpoint, great year 2022 is looking amazing. Everything's looking great. We're going to all have a good time. But I really think that what 2021 has taught me is you have to live in two worlds now. You have to live in the reality of this is what I do, this is what I have to do. But even if I'm not in the mood for it, I still have to put on that
Man, I've
face. I
always lived
still
in
have to
that.
put on that. I
mhm.
didn't feel that before, Brian. I didn't do weddings. When I broke my leg, it was a very simple phone call. I had 7 weddings I did
Yeah.
with a cast and crutches, and Connor loaded the gear. And I called all 7 clients and said, hey, I've got these weddings coming up with you. Just want to let you know I broke my leg. I'll be in a chair. Everything you hired me for, I'll take care of it. And they were all great. Gave me reviews, tips, the whole deal. But that
Mhm,
was a physical adjustment. You know,
mhm.
that was something that they just looked at and said, oh, yeah, we're good with that. I think moving forward, we have to take what we've had to deal with because I lost loved ones. Other
Mhm.
people lost
Sure.
loved ones. Other people were affected. Other people got sick.
Oh
They
yeah.
came near death. There's a lot of, I think it's the first time I've looked at my industry and said, there's a lot of mental health issues that
Mhm.
we need to sometimes stop and look at, i.e.,
Mhm.
this is the chill room. We're
Right.
coming up in a couple months on 2 years of
Yeah.
coming in
February.
here, and we take for
Yes.
granted sometimes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just you stop and you take for granted, this is my getaway. I'm friends with a guy in Australia that I firmly believe if I got on a Qantas flight tomorrow and ended up in Melbourne, I could stay at his house. I've never met Scrappa. I
Mhm.
could go to Milwaukee and hang
Well,
with you. I
you
could
do that
also hang with
anyway.
them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying though? Like
Yeah.
it's changed the dynamics,
Mhm.
and it's been something that's really helped us get through this.
Well,
So my
Mhm.
question becomes, how are other DJs? I'd love to see in the comments,
well,
how are
but
they getting through the parts of this that aren't business oriented, that take their toll mentally?
I would address you before I even think about anybody else because you're my friend and this is on the table. I
Mhm.
will say this about you, and I know you, and I will say that, and I've said it before. You are impressive when it comes to being under pressure. Like you come through on things.
Oh yeah.
I
Thank
remember
you.
when your mom died.
Mhm.
Everybody said, "Oh, he's not going to be here." His mom, but I said, "Watch, he'll be here," because that's what Jay does.
Mhm.
It's part of it's Jay coping, and I like that. But the part that concerns me sometimes is Jay not going ahead and having his moment, and trying to just plow through it. Maybe you need that moment sometimes.
Well, you know what though,
Mhm.
and you maybe you're like this too, Brian. I don't know. I think you might be because you and I talked a lot after your dad passed away. I've come to the realization that every day is a moment.
Yeah.
Every day is something. Every day is a song. It's a sunset. It's a look at that towel. It's a look at that TV show. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Every day is a reminder of the joy that you've had in your life. And I think
Right.
that sometimes the celebration of life isn't about where you are at that moment as much as looking back on the journey that got you there. And that
Right.
journey was
Exactly.
growing up in different states,
Right.
having different friends, different girlfriends. I I mean that's personally my coping skill is to never forget where I came from,
Sure.
to always have things that I can touch and feel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
every time I touch this ring, my mom gave me this ring 17 years ago. Every time my thumb hits this ring, it's a constant. It's
It's
Yeah.
a hey mom,
it's it's
it's
interesting you
just
should
part of
say that.
life.
This was a, this is the 5th anniversary of my mom's death, and I was not feeling the Christmas spirit until I hit Lake Placid and energized the lights in Christmas colors. And I was like, okay. And then someone went, oh my God, that's gorgeous. And I started feeling good. And I drove through that little village. And I have just chosen to celebrate my mom's life. She lived a long time.
Mm.
And when I did this and we were on national television, it happens all the time. And I know that my mom is gone, but I had the urge to pick up the, hey, mom, I'm on TV. Oh,
Yeah.
mom's not here. But that
Yeah.
makes me smile that I still think good thoughts about my mom. I celebrate her life.
Every day.
So if that
Yeah.
helps anyone,
Yeah.
you know,
I've made
There's
no
that
secret
moment of
about.
joy and then the depression of I can't reach out. Like I have a question. The other day, Michelle said something about family, and I was like,
mm,
you know, I need to ask my. Oh, I can't. Like, so you end up, you know, if you can't go backwards, then go forwards. But in going
right,
forwards, bring
right,
everything with you.
Yeah.
And I've notoriously, my sisters hate that I am this way, but I am notoriously living in the past. I'll be blunt.
Yeah. You
I
are.
think a lot of where people go, I didn't know you were that old. Well, because it's not that I'm not acting my age, it's that I'm still living 10 or 12 years behind me. I'm still like, remember that time when I was 21 and I went to this barn and we had some drinks, went to Buzzies, and then went down the Charles River and we did this thing? That's awesome. Like, dude, that was 30 some odd years ago. Nah, it seems like it was only yesterday.
You're like everybody I don't want to talk to at a high school reunion.
yeah, right.
Right. No, I'm totally that guy. I'm Brian, please. I look back, I can look at you right now in this Zoom call, and it is literally no different to me sometimes than when I walked up to you on the sidewalk in front of the Holiday Inn on Tui Ave in
Yeah.
Chicagoland and said, I know you. You're Brian Red. You do the videos on YouTube. You're like, yeah. I'm like,
Well,
you made fun of my man.
we're
You're like,
we're
whoa,
older.
wait, what?
Time moves a little different for us now. I was in the car with
Yeah.
Eris today, and he was talking about his dad doesn't have insurance on his brother's car. I said, well, that's illegal. And he says, that's nationwide, isn't it? I said, well, no, we just got that law here in Wisconsin. We didn't used to have it. And he's looking at me like, we've always had it since I've had a driver's license. I'm like, yeah, but you've had a driver's license for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
24.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a driver's license since he was 16, but in my world,
Oh, yeah. That's 10
it was
minutes.
30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's all relative, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
So,
I think
hey.
you need to bring everything that you have as a person And I genuinely think it's what makes you a better DJ. I think the pain, I think the joy, the misery, the life experience, because ultimately,
Yeah.
when you speak with clients, I certainly have always found it comes up in conversation. When I talk to a bride and she says, and I say something about the father daughter dance, and she goes, I'm like, are you going to be doing the father daughter dance? Who's talking to me? Computer's going off. And I go, oh, you're going to be doing the father daughter dance? She goes, no, my father passed away a few years ago. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So did mine. And all of a sudden, there's now a connection. Or,
Mhm.
hey, we should do this thing. And I'm like, oh, I did a club gig one time and I played that song. Oh my God, I love that song. I was on Twitch tonight. A girl who used to have a wedding company in San Diego, Rebecca, came in the room. I was doing techno and then I went to darkwave and she was all excited. And it's like somebody I've known for probably 20 years. But it's like those little moments of joy become when she's excited or John puts up a cool emoji about like, dude, great song. I love that transit. When I did the darkwave into Metro by Berlin,
Oh yeah.
that's a lot of joy for me. That's like today was my wife didn't have anything on her mammogram. I then had
That's great.
breakfast with my son, Colin, and my wife down in Pacific Beach. And then we came home. And it's all those little things lead up to when I put my head on the pillow and I go, wow, what a great day. And it's that way with weddings as well. So not to bring
Awesome.
everything down, but to kind of wrap it and bring it back.
Yeah.
It
All right.
becomes that who you are is what makes you special as a DJ, as an entity, and as a person. Don't let go of that. Don't write it off. Don't push it so far away that you become numb. Be you.
All right.
Be
Yeah.
proud of that.
How about we hear
Amen.
any final thoughts from John, Bill, or Alex before we close?
I'd just say ditto to Jay.
Okay.
I'll go with sometimes you have to find your own positivity. It's been kind of foggy out there in the world, and there's a lot working against you finding a happy place, but you got to persevere and push through it and just, keep your spirits up and do what you can to keep it moving forward and try to keep yourself in the best light. And if you can't get there, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Have someone
All right,
help you.
Alex,
I'll try to do it.
Alex, we'll give you the final word.
In the words of the British band D-Ream, things can only get better.
I love that.
And Howard Jones.
And Howard Jones too.
Okay.
And by the way, one I don't want to top that by any stretch, but I was asked today because John Young and I talked for a couple minutes, and apparently it's the end of the year, and he was given a call by, as you guys famously know, my agency, Dewey Cheatham and Howe. Apparently, not only have I gone up to $850,000 a show, which, it's just money. It's not a big deal to me. But if you want to use Izzy Itzkowitz or Ira Greenblatz, who are two of my agents, before the end of the year, there's a 20% discount on the money that they'll pay you. So you could actually lose 20% of whatever they negotiate for you if you want to hire them. I just wanted to throw that out because I'm contractually obligated to say so.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you brought that up because Izzy, there's a clause in mine that says whatever Jay gets, I get $1 more.
See, you're doing a
So,
Me Too
yeah.
plus $1. Yeah, Izzy said there was something about that. God, geez,
Good night,
Mary.
everyone.
Jeez.
Thank you
Happy
all.
New
for
Year.
being here.
Happy New
We'll
Year,
see you.
everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.